back to Elevate Your Wealth. I'm Casey Elkins, Managing Partner at Elevated Financial Management. As always, I'm joined by Mark Stimson, my friend, father-in-law, and business partner. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing really good. I'm so excited to be with you again today, Casey, and our viewers. We've got a team member that we want to talk a little bit about today. We're so excited about a new office situation a little bit. So we just want the viewers to get to know us and our office a little bit at the beginning of this conversation today.
Absolutely, yeah. We're really excited to have Brian with us, right? We've got a fresh face, Brian Frucci. We're really happy to have you here with us.
That. We're excited too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You just joined the team with us recently. You'll be an advisor at Elevated Financial Management, which is great. Mark and I need all the help we can get. Right?
So, busy.
Yeah, very busy. Yep. And, you know, Brian, kind of rewinding a little bit, before you joined Elevated Financial Management, how did you kind of get started in the business? What's your background?
Well, originally, I was going to Seattle Pacific University when I was pretty younger than I am now, obviously, about 40 years ago. And my father-in-law said, Brian, you like people, you deal well with people, why don't you go into the Medicare supplement business and help people?
Okay.
And I said, well, that sounds good. And kind of being young and dumb, actually. And so I joined a local firm, the Nielsen Financial Group, and I found out that I fell in love with the business.
Oh.
I fell in love with helping people, protecting them, problem solving, all those things really is what keeps me going and what I look forward to when I get up in the morning to go to work and help people solve problems financially.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's really nice. And you know, I'll just say, I think I speak for Mark and myself both when I say we're excited to have you. And for that reason that you just gave us is what makes you such a special fit at Elevated Financial Management, right?
Yeah.
Our entire practice is built around putting others first.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes it so easy for us to want to bring you in, right? Is you fit that mold perfectly. Yeah. So we're really happy to have you. Yeah. What would you say you're most excited about when it comes to joining the team?
Well, there's a lot of things. I'm excited about the commonalities that we have. And I don't want to sound over emotional, but our hearts. I've worked with Mark for 5-6 years now. Same office, same companies. Casey, I've seen you and been around you for years now. And your guys' heart is to help people, to protect them, to do good financial planning, not a rubber stamp, not taking a size 9 shoe and trying to put it on everybody in America, but giving everyone who walks in the office the time they need, whether it's 2 appointments, 3 appointments, 4 appointments, whatever it is, that they get a value and they get some answers and a resolution of their problems.
No, that's really good. Yeah, and I appreciate that. You know, that's high praise coming from you. We very much value that. But just for our folks at home, I know that you're not here to listen to us talk about our office too much today. You're here to talk about retirement planning, right? And that's what we do week in and week out. That's what we do on radio. That's what we do at our retirement classes that we teach at local colleges, at museums, and that's what we're always about, right? So again, we're happy to have you, Brian. But let's jump into what we're the meat of what we're here for today, right? So when we think about it, we talk about risk, right? And everybody is familiar with this term risk. In retirement, there's lots of different types of risk, right? And so we're going to address a few of those today for you listening at home. We're going to talk about a few different items. Maybe I could just kind of pitch it to you, Mark, and ask you, when we think about risk, there's a few different ones. What are kind of the top 3 or 4 different risks that you think about when it comes to retirement planning?
I'd like to maybe address one that doesn't get talked a lot about, and it should be. We believe it could be the #1 risk that every retiree is going to face, and that is longevity risk. We know that there's market risk, right? We could tell everybody knows more about that, but longevity risk, we really talk about it as a multiplier, right? The longer we live, we have a much higher likelihood that we're going to need some form of long-term care.
Absolutely.
That's a big risk, right? What about market volatility, like we've been talking about, and we always talk about? The longer we live, the more likelihood. We know an average bull run lasts 5 to 6 years, right? An average bear can last about a month. We wish it was a month, a year and a half or so, right? There've been several months now, like about 16 of them, 18 of them. And so to recover from those can be traumatic. It can be bad. It can be devastating, as we all know, to a plan. So again, and then you have the long-term care risk. These are just, as you mentioned, there are several, and those are just three that come top to mind for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we can talk more about that market risk, especially when we come back, because we're going to go to a break here shortly. But I will say that, as you mentioned, that there's quite a few different pieces, and ultimately those different levels of risk, those different types of risk, I should say, bring different levels, right? And it's dependent on somebody's individual situation.
Right.
And we've got to address that individually for that specific person, for their specific investment accounts, the types of investments that they have, when they're going to start Social Security, all of those things. That really all creates this this maybe overwhelming feeling for retirees. So again, for you listening at home, we're going to address a lot of those today when we come back. But before we go to break, we have a special offer for you. Mark, would you share with them what that is?
For our first 5 callers, we're going to develop a written plan for you. It's going to be done by a team of certified financial planners. So what we're going to do, we're going to look hard at your tax situation. What kind of strategies are you using right now to mitigate your tax liability? Then we're going to take a very hard look at your income sources. Are they guaranteed or are they not? That's important to us. We need to know that you're going to get a check each and every month deposited in your account for you. Then we have to worry about your medical situation, which is going to involve Medicare, possibly Medicaid planning, and then, of course, long-term care. And then the final piece that we really want to address is going to be the need to have an estate plan, some sort of will or trust, right? You're going to need to have that. And so please pick up your phone, call 844-342-7142. If you saved at least $250,000 or more, pick up the phone, 844-342-7142.
Thanks very much, Mark. Again, for those listening at home, this is a special offer for our first 5 callers. It's a written financial plan put together by our team of certified financial planners. We'll build something custom, specifically catered just for you. Pick up the phone, give us a call, 844-342-7142. Don't change the dial. We're going to come right back here to Elevate Your Wealth, where we're talking more about market risk and many other types of risk in retirement.
Call 844-342-7142 right now for your own written financial plan. Having a clear path to retirement is more than just your savings. This review will include a complete risk analysis on your portfolio, a deep dive fee X-ray to determine how much you are and could be paying on those investments, a tax reduction report, and healthcare and legacy planning for you and your estate. To begin your retirement readiness review, call Casey, Mark, and the team at 844-342-7142 or use the QR code to schedule your appointment right away. Whether your retirement is coming soon or you want to be certain you can stay retired, the written financial plan will help guide you through your retirement planning journey. Call Mark Casey and the team at 844-342-7142 or use the QR code to schedule your meeting today.
Welcome back to Elevate Your Wealth. Again, I'm Casey Elkins. I'm here with Mark Stimson and Brian Frucci. We're happy to have you back with us. We're talking about risk today and how that especially affects retirees. And so, Brian, maybe I can ask you directly. What are your thoughts on risk and really how that affects clients? Because that's what this is all about, right?
Risk is a huge emotional aspect that clients oftentimes will keep them up late at night. At 3 in the morning, they wake up.
Yeah.
Many clients that come to us really haven't explored what the risk is and what impact it could have on them. Let me give you a quick example. I've got 5 daughters, that's why I'm follically impaired, and probably one of the reasons, right? And my oldest daughter, Emily, she said, Dad, she was a teenager, so Dad, can I borrow the keys tonight to take my girlfriends to the movies? I said, sure, sweetheart, but go clean your room. Make sure your room's clean.
Sure.
Okay, well, she goes down the hallway, comes back 5 minutes, says, Dad, my room's clean. I said, really? So I went down to her room and looked, and guess what? My definition of clean and her definition of clean were different. And so oftentimes what we see when clients come to our office, they have a much different feeling for risk, their definition of what they're comfortable with, what they want to expose themselves to, than possibly a broker that they're with now.
Right.
And I think that if we don't deal with the risk and be able to mitigate it and reduce it as much as possible, then clients are going to be scared. They're going to be worried because, as you know, if you lose 50% in the market, it's going to take 100% to get even again. And that can take years and years.
Yeah.
And if you're close to retirement and if that occurs, you may not recover. And that's a sad fact.
It is.
But it's a reality check.
You're right.
And that's why it's so important to understand risk. And that's why we, as you know, we use specific software to analyze your portfolio. So when you bring your portfolio in, we analyze it. We ask you, we do a questionnaire with you in terms of what your particular risk comfort level is, and then guess what? We take your portfolio and we analyze it for just that. And many times it's incongruent. And many times, as you know, we hear clients say, I never realized I had that much risk. And what the impact will be. We also will teleport your portfolio, if you will. We'll take your current portfolio as it is right now, and we'll take it back to 2013 in a bull market. Well, how would your portfolio perform in a bull market? We'll take it back to the last financial crisis, late 2007 to early 2009. How much would you lose? And we compare that to a benchmark like the S&P 500. People oftentimes are shocked because they had no idea they have that much risk on the table.
Right. And it really boils down to, as you mentioned, kind of those subjective terms, right? One person's version, as it was with your daughter, right? One person's version of clean is not necessarily the other's. And one person's version of moderate or conservative is not necessarily the other person's version of moderate or conservative. And so we do see that a lot. You know, we feel like when folks come to us, it seems like they almost never even had that conversation with their current advisor. Like it's never been addressed. And so it really becomes so important for us to have a way, as you mentioned, using a third-party software to really dial in what somebody's truly comfortable with. And that's required to build a custom plan, right?
Absolutely.
We've got to do that kind of work. And it is work. It takes time.
It does.
But it's worth taking the time.
You can't plan without it.
Yeah, it's worth taking the time to make sure that someone has a successful retirement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you, Brian. You want to add something to that, Mark?
Yeah, I think since we're talking about this, we use some software, I think was just mentioned, Riskalyze, right?
Yeah.
It'll give us a risk score. But you are so good too, Casey, when you use the Morningstar report, complete third-party vendor, analyzes someone's portfolio. And how many times have we heard from a client or two that comes into our office and they're happy, oh, we're diversified. We got 15 different mutual funds, right? We do the Morningstar report for them. It all comes back. It'll give us a risk score for their portfolio, which they're surprised at how much risk sometimes they're taking. But what we find is they don't have any true diversification, meaning they have a lot of the same company stocks inside those mutual funds.
Right.
So what does that mean? Well, when those stocks go up, the fund goes up, but they all go down. They're going up and down together. That's the point. That's not diversification. Diversification is going to require some correlation, meaning when one account is going up, the other may be going down. They're not doing it at the same time.
Right.
And it's critical that we address that, because that risk is ginormous, but yet in the client's mind is how many times do we hear that? I had no idea that that's what the way it was in my portfolio. They're astounded to find that out. And a lot of times they're going, my planners never shared this with me. Right? And that's why I think we're different. We just are. We're going to analyze that, show you what you're doing, then you can tell us whether or not you want to fix it. Right? We can just give you some ideas on doing that. That's all I wanted to share on that.
You know, and I'm in total agreement, right? And it's interesting to be that person helping somebody kind of pull the blinders back on their portfolio and show them where they're at. And you know, we have folks that come in to the office and they kind of want us to just tell them what to do without us really knowing where they're at, right? And the way I think of that, and for you folks listening at home, what that boils down to is if you went in to go see a specialist, you went in to go see a doctor, and you told them that your knee hurt when you walked in, and he kind of watched you walk around the room, and then he said, well, we need to do a full knee replacement. how much trust, how much confidence would there
Right.
be? Almost
Right.
none, right?
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
circumstance. We don't make suggestions. We don't have any hot stock tips and this great new product and something really exciting to share. That's not what we do day in and day out. We do an analysis, and then we figure out how can we solve the problems
Absolutely.
that has
Absolutely.
uncovered, right? How do we make it better?
Right.
That's what it boils down to. And
Yeah.
so maybe real quickly, I can ask you, Brian, when is the right time to start taking some of that risk off the table? When we're thinking about retirement, as we're approaching that retirement corridor,
Right.
when's the right time to start doing that?
Well, it's an important question for sure. And you guys have talked oftentimes about the difference in how you handle your portfolio during the accumulation phase versus during the distribution phase.
Yeah.
And they're completely different.
Right.
And so we need to make that transition from having more risk on the table. And I know for some people, they think they can't have growth without an exorbitant amount of risk, which is not true. It's absolutely not accurate.
Yeah.
So when we talk about risk, we oftentimes will look at what's the time of your retirement? What are you anticipating? How much money do you have? What amount of losses could you take, or both emotionally as well as when would it affect your plan? So again, there's no silver bullet.
Right.
But we do know that risk needs to be identified. We need to reduce it. We need to have more than one income source.
Yeah.
That's not,
Yeah.
I mean, I love the market, absolutely. But if you depend 100% on the market,
Yeah.
you're going to have trouble. And again, I love the market.
Yeah.
I love it. But it's not the silver bullet. You have to have diversification of your assets that will also lower your risk profile.
Yeah, we need to be strategic with how we
Absolutely.
set that up,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
so, as we're approaching retirement, that taking some of the risk off the table, the timing of that is of the utmost importance to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success. So, for our folks listening at home, we have a special offer as always. Please pick up the phone and dial 844-342-7142 to get your written financial plan put together by our team of certified financial planners. With that, we're going to talk about the income that you need in retirement. We'll talk about the type of risk that you're currently taking and whether or not it's appropriate. Is it setting you up to be successful in retirement? That's what all of this is about. We'll talk about taxes. How can we lessen those taxes? Health care, and what can we do to plan for legacy and estate planning? So don't change the dial. Pick up the phone, 844-342-7142. Come right back here. We'll continue to talk more about risk on Elevate Your Wealth.
Call 844-342-7142 for your own complimentary written financial plan with Risk Report. Why take unnecessary risk when you don't have to? At 65 years old, would you drive to the grocery store at 100 miles an hour if 40 miles an hour would get you there safely? When nearing retirement, are you still driving your investment accounts like you're in your 30s or 40s? Have you changed your investment elections since you first chose them in your retirement accounts at work? Call Casey, Mark, and the team at 844-342-7142 for your own investment risk report and written financial plan. Do you know exactly how much risk you're taking in your investment accounts? Now that you've accumulated a nest egg for retirement, you want to be certain the risk you're taking in those investments matches your goals and objectives. Call Mark, Casey, and their team at 844-342-7142 for your own complimentary risk report and written financial plan, or use the QR code below to begin scheduling your appointment. You may not have time to recover from taking too much risk.
Welcome back to Elevate Your Wealth. We're happy to still have you with us. We're talking about risk in retirement today. Again, always talking about retirement topics. That's what all of this is about. That's why you're here. I'm joined by Mark Stimson and Brian Frucci. We're happy to have all of you with us. It's nice to have you too. Brian, your first time on the show,
You
but
bet.
it's so nice to have you here and have you as a part of the team.
Appreciate that.
When we talk about that risk, right, we've been talking about the risk that the market poses and the concerns that creates. But there's another risk that I think so many people maybe have never even heard of, and it's withdrawal rate risk, right? So, Mark, maybe just to get everybody on the same page, would you share with us what is withdrawal rate and withdrawal rate risk?
Yeah, in fact, this is something that, again, a lot of our clients that come in and our students we talk with at our classes, they're just not familiar with. Another term that you could interchange with withdrawal rate risk would be drawdown. What's the drawdown rate that I can take out of my portfolio and safely, hopefully, right, make it to the end and not run out of money, because that's really what we're talking about. What is the rate that you can safely take out of your accounts and not run out of money? That's the easy, very quick definition that we're going to talk a little bit more in the next few minutes. But that's what we want to focus on.
Right, and so that directly ties into something that maybe many folks have heard of, which is the 4% rule.
Yep.
Right, those are the direct correlation. Brian, maybe you can share what is the 4% rule and how has it changed?
That was kind of the golden rule probably 20 years ago, where most brokers would say you can safely take out 4% of your portfolio per year and not worry about running out of money. That's changed. Why? Longevity, we're living longer, medical advancements, and that changes it puts so much more pressure on your portfolio to be able to survive and be able to continue to give you the income you need.
There's a lot of stress to make that portfolio perform to create that income, right? Yeah.
And so therefore, and Mark's mentioned it a couple of times, that's why it's so important to coordinate Social Security, income, all the different sources of income, so that you can have a plan in terms of what is a good withdrawal rate for you, right? Now, the adjustments that are made today and what most brokers are recommending, as you know, is between 2%, 2.5%. I've heard it as low as
1.8.
Yeah, exactly. So again, longevity is an issue, and that's why we stress and have stressed for so long having a guaranteed income that even if you live to 120 years old, your income will not run out, as well as it will keep pace with inflation, or at least close to keeping pace with inflation. And that's really a key, because we can't just simply, without having a direct plan, open the valve and expect it to last for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, that's it. You hit the nail on the head. We cannot just go for it and expect that to continue on. Yeah, that's a big concern. You want to add something, Mark?
Yeah, something as we're talking about here, withdrawal rate risk, goes really all the way back to modern portfolio theory. That was just a safe drawdown. We called it the Finke rule. Was developed by a man named Michael Finke. So, but we've been talking about how dangerous that can be, and some of I mean, Dr. Wade Pfau, if you Google him, he is one of the foremost consultants in the retirement planning world, and he just came out and believes, because of, you mentioned, Brian, longevity risk, that he believes we could be 2%, maybe 1.8 is all. What does that really mean? Can you imagine if you have $1 million and at 4%, that'd be $40,000, right? What if now 1.8, well, we know 40,000 gets cut all the way down to 18,000. Yeah. How's that going to feel?
And it's on the same $1 million. Right?
Exactly.
You don't have less money. It's the same $1 million.
Right. And this is why you have to address it. We need to have money in other buckets, but the amount we can withdraw matters, because if you have bad sequence of return risk, meaning the market starts tanking at the same time you start drawing the money out, you could run out of money maybe 15, 20 years faster than if the bad market years happen more in the middle of your retirement cycle or the end versus the beginning. And that's something we didn't talk much about, but sequence of return risk is another ginormous one.
It is.
Yeah, that sequence is big. You want to add something, Brian?
Well, I think also it needs to be mentioned that at different times during your retirement, you may have a higher need or desire for a greater income distribution.
Absolutely.
We call it the go-go, no-go, and slow-go phase of retirement. So we're going to take the kids, the grandkids, I've got 7 of them, came to Disneyland. Man, I'm going to strap on my tennis shoes and I'm going to run with those little guys. Yeah. Don't ask me at the end of the day how I'll feel, but I'm going to ride on every ride. I'm going to run and gun with them. But then when I probably enter in my 70s, I may say, hey, Papa's going to sit here. I'm going to drink this $15 bottle of water and the $20 hot dog at Disneyland. And you guys go on that ride. And when you're done, come back. We'll go on to the next one. What happens when we're in maybe our 80s? Usually we're going to doctor's appointments. Right?
We're not going to Disneyland. I will promise you.
We're not running and gunning in Disneyland. Now, we hope it takes place, but in actuality, it usually doesn't. So in your early retirement, you may want to take more out to enjoy your retirement more fully while you're able to.
Yeah, no, that's really good, and it really does. That's the key, right? You mentioned the go-go, the slow-go, and the no-go years, and this is where the plan is so valuable.
Absolutely,
because just having a portfolio, just having an account, and we go, well, I'll take my 2.5% from my $1 million. if we structure things differently, we can have the money at the right time, right? That's what so much of life is about, is timing, right? We have to be successful when it comes to that. And so if we structure things the right way and we structure our income the right way, that's really how folks have a successful retirement, right? That's what it boils down to. And that's what the plan is for, right? And as you mentioned, dropping a rock in a pond, it has a ripple effect. And so what we do from a withdrawal rate perspective has a direct effect on the retirement that we're going to live. It has a direct effect on how we invest, how we should be invested, right? How we're going to take Social Security, all of those things, they all play together. And as you mentioned earlier, there's not a silver bullet for retirement, right?
No, there isn't.
Yeah, there's not. But we want to make sure that we're structuring it accordingly. You want to add something?
Yeah,
Mark?
I was going to say that this is why this is so important, because when it comes to this retirement planning, we get one shot at this. It's not like we can have, several mulligans, right? Where we hit the ball in the water and we just put another one on the tee and hopefully get it on the green stuff, right? So, if you get this wrong, it can devastate your plan, and we don't want that to happen. This is why you have to have a plan, right? Because there are going to be retirement does involve so many different things. It's fluid, right? Life is going to happen. The car's going to break down. The roof's you're going to get a hole in it, right? You're going to need a new car. All of these things. So you need to have a plan to be able to address what we just call life.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to it. And so, for our folks listening at home, we have a special offer for you. Mark, would you share with them what that is, what they can expect if they give us a call?
Yeah, for the next 5 callers, please pick up the phone. If you've saved at least $250,000 or more, we're going to put together a written plan that's done by our team of certified financial planners. It's going to look at your tax piece. We're going to analyze where the money should come from and what time do you want to withdraw that money. We're also going to then look at your income. Is it guaranteed? We're going to make sure that is the case. Then we're going to look at your health situation. We need to know, are you going to need long-term care? And then, of course, we want to make sure that you have what I like to call a trust. A will is okay, but a trust is better. We're going to make sure that you have all of these pieces that is going to help you to lead and have the retirement life that you've worked and dreamed so long about. So please pick up the phone, call 844-342-7142. That's 844-342-7142.
Thanks very much, Mark. Brian, it's been really nice having you here with us today.
Appreciate it.
To everybody at home, as always, we're always happy to have you. My question to you is this: what type of risk are you taking? Do you know what it is? Do you know how it's going to affect you? Don't leave it to chance. Pick up the phone. Give us a call, 844-342-7142. We look forward to seeing you right back here next week on Elevate Your Wealth. Have a great day.